Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to have a technical person with us this time, a hydrologist, though I believe she's going to talk about other things. That's her choice. Right now, we have with her Ishita Bhatnagar. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Ishita.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me here. It's an honor to be around people like you. So today I'm going to talk about women and their work-life balance conflict, and specifically referring to the academia. And the purpose of this talk is, since I am connected with someone who has a wide range of audience, so I want each one of us to start thinking again in the direction that I'm provoking you to think, and thus to stir a discussion altogether by the end of the talk. So I'll share my screen to be able to share my thoughts in a more organized manner. So, as I already mentioned, it's...
By the way, she works at IIT, so you expect to see organization, right? Not
and a lot of citations as well.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah. So as I said, the topic for today's conversation would be women and their work-life conflict. You can see the pictures depict that topic very well. And I may not have to speak much on this slide. I think the pictures should do their work. And let's just quickly jump off to the problem statement that I'm trying to address and to communicate to the entire audience that I have here. I might even use Hindi words so that I am able to reach a better and a larger audience. So when we talk about statistics, it's generic that, when as PhD students, we have been tuned into collecting data and then giving our point of view. So when you look at the statistics, especially when you look at the higher education statistics, you see that the gross enrollment ratio of females in higher education, be it master's or even PhD, that has been giving you a rising trend, as you can see from the red line. And also, if you talk about the most recent statistics that have been come out, 48% of the enrollments are from female candidates. However, if you go on to look at the second figure, you realize that in the top institutes, female enrollment has been declining ever since 2016 to 17. Now let's go on to the next one.
This data is India or worldwide?
No, India. It's all India.
All right.
For the time being, we're talking about Indian institutes and Indian female ratios.
Okay.
So at PhD level, female enrollment comprises of 47% of the total students that register in India. And the enrollment has in fact doubled in case of the PhD from what it was in 2014-15 to what it is now in 2021 to 2022, which is a happy sign. However, when you go deeper and go into the faculty members that we have in our institutes, that comprises of only 14%. So from a 47% of females who enroll, only 14% of them actually take up jobs as faculty members. That's a little worrisome. Now, if you look at some more statistics, we find that the percentage of female faculty in IIT especially is on an average 10 to 20%. And then when we go into NITs, which are more local colleges, we do find a higher percentage there, but not that much, still 20 to 40%. And that probably is because they have more access. I mean, the local families are more interested in females enrolling in job perspectives near the house rather than going to, shifting to a new place. So this is about India. Surprisingly, I wanted to compare the Indian scenario with the foreign scenario so that I get some hint and some suggestions from there. But unfortunately, even in the foreign universities, you just have a 20% ratio of females who are as faculty members in top institutes. So therefore, no wonder we got our first women lead in an IIT ever in 2023 itself. After 78 years of independence that we've just celebrated, and we have our first female lead in an IIT in 2023, you should cry. I mean, of course, it is a a happy occasion, but then at the same time, it's also it also indicates something that needs to be done in this direction. Now, this was a very interesting piece of statistics that I found. It is not related to India, but it's more of an American survey that was done. But it somewhat relates, and I think a lot relates. It relates a lot to the Indian Commission as well. So basically, they found out the percentage of distribution of tenure and tenure track engineering faculty by gender and rank in the year 2022. So it's very recent, and understanding that America is already, US is a world leader and it's a developed country altogether. Yet we see that the percentage of women who enroll as assistant professors is higher than the men who enroll. However, as you go on to the hierarchy, you find that very less women actually reach that position of a full professor, even in US. So then you can well imagine what would happen in India. This is another interesting graphic that I found on Facebook, which categorically mentions meritocracy, which is nothing but a system where people are chosen for positions of power, influence, and success based on their abilities and merit rather than their social, cultural, economical background. So very well, you can see there are 3 women in the first, very first row in the first 3 columns, and then there are 3 men. So what I'm trying to convey here is merit-wise, women have same acumen as men, so that is not debatable anymore. However, when you go further in the track, you see women are being subjected to a lot of responsibilities, which we'll address in the subsequent slides. So this is just a pictorial understanding of this entire saga of why women are not reaching the full professor positions and even at director levels. So let's examine the gap. So I first want you to focus on this pyramid that we have, and the subsidiaries are supporting the reasoning that has been given in the pyramid by one work by Swaroop and others. So what you see here is they've given the hierarchy of education specifically in India. So you have a primary school, then you go to secondary school, then you go to college or university, then you might even go for a doctorate as we are. And then of course a postdoc if you want a job in academia, which is silently compulsory here. Then you come to the women's side. What women lack or feel where the leak comes out from. Why are they not reaching the top positions in academia especially? So one is of course illiteracy and poverty, where women are not, they don't have, families do not educate the women altogether. So that's one thing. Then even if they reach the college university level, then there are branchings into humanities section and engineering. So this is typically why we don't have women in the engineering section. So they opt for, probably a bachelor's in arts rather than going for a bachelor in technology, simply because science still is a men thing. That's the thinking. Then when they even go for an MPhil or a doctorate, there are a lot of social responsibilities that they have to handle, marriage, childcare, etc. And then even if they do overcome all these limitations, they're subjected to work environment harassment in workplaces. So eventually, these are the factors which could be possible reasons why women are not able to continue with their passion altogether. So let's discuss now the reasons we've already done, but I think these reasons are more rooted to the societal perceptions that we have. So let's quickly dig deep. I'm not going to take much time here, but still I want to convey the message, and this is my contribution to the entire talk. So we've already discussed the problem statements. I have you with me on the podium. We are on the same page, and now let us discuss what could be the societal perception that could be hindering the statistics that we are seeing here. So let's quickly discuss as layman people some terms that are related to the societal perceptions. One is dependency. Now, Oxford University defines dependency as the state of needing somebody or something. So when you are in a family atmosphere, what really happens is that women are women are taught since, in Indian societies, women are taught since childhood to give up their dreams, to give up, despite the fact that they're capable. So we saw merit, they have merit, but they are taught to give up their dreams because they have a societal responsibility that is to run the household activities and to remain as dependent on the person whom she gets married to. So that is dependency. Now, at the same time, men are equally, and I think probably more dependent on women, but it is not shown that way. So basically, for men, it is more like they are taught to become independent. So independent in Hindi, uska matlab hai swatantrata, dependent on yourself rather than being dependent on someone else. So that is why they're taught not to cry, because you have your own shoulders where you can cry on. But women are usually told vent it out on with someone, you share it with someone or something like that. So these are all psychological things that I'm talking about here. So independence, see, as I am again reiterating, is a state of being free and controlled. It's the state of being free and not controlled by another person, country, etc. So what I'm trying to focus your mind on is this. Swatantrata means being dependent on oneself, my own self, but at the same time, it also means not to be controlled by any other person or country. I won't speak much on this because we already know the state of Indian families and the context that we're talking about. So I don't want to get into the controversy for the while, but then I still want you to understand the psychology of the system. Then we have another term which is called non-dependent. Now, which essentially means not relying on another for support. This does not exist on Earth, at least, because every other thing is dependent on every other thing. So, for example, if tree gives us oxygen, we give it carbon dioxide to cook food. So, therefore, this interdependency comes into the picture, and that is exactly what I want to highlight. Interdependency means the state of being dependent upon one another, mutual dependence, which is what we want in our society as of now, which we want both men, women, and even transgenders to be taught since the childhood, that we need to be interdependent. Not one is higher than the other. It is just interdependency. If women are dependent on men, men are equally dependent on women. And when you formulate this culture of interdependency, it is then when you realize that you have a more balanced society. And therefore, the focus of this talk was actually to introduce this topic of interdependency altogether. So the key takeaways of this short but thought-provoking talks are as follows. So I would leave you with questions and not with conclusions anymore. So first, I want you to understand, how dependent are you on your wife? How dependent are you on your husband? Ask the women in your house, do you dare to dream? How many girls have you come across who've said, I want to be the next Prime Minister of India? I think very less, and probably even no. How many times have you heard Indian families advise their daughters, work and family cannot go hand in hand? You will have to choose at one point in time, any one of them. And then finally, how many women have given up their dream, the simple dream of having a peaceful work-life balance? So with this, I end this talk for further discourse and discussion. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Do you want me? Can we get out of the screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to give you some comments, or do you want to talk some more?
Sure. No. I would love to get some comments.
Okay. All right. I have been thinking about this too. Of course, I don't have all the data that you have. And I think it helps if you flip the question. If you flip the question and ask, why are, let's call them girls, why are girls able to get into, in such large numbers, into PhD programs? Okay, what is it that has changed that they are able to get into PhD programs or master's programs or whatever in STEM, if you want? And if you look at it, the girls actually do better than boys in STEM in 11th and 12th. So the question is, why is this there? I mean, it wasn't there 30, 40 years ago. Okay. So why don't we look at that? What has happened that we can see this change. Rather than saying, why can't they get ahead? Why don't we ask just to get a better understanding, why did they get ahead here? Okay, because that will tell you what factors facilitated change at that level. Okay, and I will give you a very tentative answer. I'm hardly an expert on it. I want to hear from you that the workplace, first of all, of course, age makes a big difference. You are young and you don't have the responsibilities that you mentioned. Okay, even the boys don't have it. So at that point, you are in pretty much open space. You can do anything. And you have managed to get social institutions to change not with laws or anything, but just generally having policies which say, look, we should teach girls, we should teach girls. I mean, in old days, nobody used to teach. Now you're saying we should teach girls. Now we should teach them science also. And we should teach them to have some ability to earn. Because, let me say it very bluntly, the marriage market demands it these days. Okay, so let's teach them some earning capacity, because you can't get married with must be the 12th grade degree. Okay, no one will marry. So the upscale marriage market has changed in that way, and the social pressures have also changed in that way. Plus, the parents actually have the money to pay for their education, which was also not the case a long time ago, where, I mean, even now you see it. I went to a village in Rajasthan and to government school, and when you look at the 8th and 9th standard, there were more girls than boys. And when I asked what's going on here, they said, well, sir, the boys all have bicycles and they're going to a better school. But the girls are just still walking to the nearby school, whereas the boys, their parents give them bicycles. So the boys, the parents are still investing in them, though they are sending the girls to school, but they are investing. But as you are getting well or better off, then you are able to pay for the girls to go, like you said, should have saved for dowry, not go to IIT. You had that headline there. But the parents are able to afford, and the social structure has changed. But as you rightly point, and this is just my speculation, that the marketplace hasn't changed. Which you can, I mean, as an economist, I am distinguishing between social factors, which are mainly responsible up till, say, master's level, or maybe even up to PhD. So, and then, you set a policy that is JRF or whatever, and you don't consider gender in it, it's neutral and all. So this is the government's policies, and the social pressures are also not there. So that's why you have this sort of bottleneck. You have a large number, but then comes the marketplace. The marketplace, you are not able to influence. The marketplace, you are not able to influence. Marketplace works according to its own rules. There's no JRF, there's no subsidy, there is no gender neutrality. The marketplace works, and plus you are older and the social factors change. Okay. So I think this is my understanding of, I mean, I'm talking not just about India, it's also true in the US. If you look at the faculty ratio, as you said, is 20%. Women's faculty ratio is 20%. If you look at the lower down, then you can see that it is equality, or actually, not just looking at science, 55% of college students in the US are women, and the boys are struggling. But the elite boys are not struggling. So that's where you have to differentiate between the competition is really between the elite boys and the elite girls. And there the marketplace is on its own. No social pressure, works there, plus the age and the ticking time bomb for women is there. It's no secret. So you have the social pressures, the biological pressure, and the marketplace, which has not adjusted, because the rest of it you have managed to adjust through social pressures and government policies which provide equal money. May not be equal, but at least they provide some.
At least comparable.
At least
True.
compared to the past, there's more money available. And you
Right.
still have all girls colleges in Delhi. So that
Yes.
way the parents don't have any objections. You are safe and you can get through. And then
True.
inevitably some of them will say, look, I want to do a master's and a PhD, and they can get their way with their parents. Okay. So that's just my thought
True.
on it, that look, why don't we look at why do we have this sudden meaning last 20, 30 years, rise in women at this level? And if those policies were not followed, probably you wouldn't have this reduction of, say, 45-50% women to 17-20, which you have pointed out. And I think, sorry to talk so long, but that's my thinking, that we are not able to influence the social and biological factors and also the marketplace.
I totally agree with you.
So if you are looking at these three things, then you have brought about public change at a younger age, but you are unable to bring about public change through various government policies at the later age.
Absolutely.
So that's just, I've been thinking about this for quite some time. I've not written anything, but that's where I'm trying to grapple with this, because as an economist, guys, we have this discussion of generally low labor force participation rate of women in India. And in the old days, we used to say, well, you educate women, at least the birth rates will decline. Well, that has already been done. So what is the purpose now? If they're going to educate their children better, but the children can get education from YouTube. So we are stuck with educated women who no longer have a very clear role.
Exactly.
And no longer have a very clear social role. Okay, let me stop talking, otherwise it'll never end. Let me stop.
But no, sir, I totally agree with you. You've really chalked out the entire talk and you've given me a clarity, which I was probably only focusing on the social aspect. But I never really thought, although I had it in mind, but not directly, that the marketplace is equally responsible, or for that matter, that has not changed as of now. And you very rightly, I think, pointed out that the question should not actually be why there are not women who are getting promoted to higher positions, but rather what made it through for women to at least enroll in PhDs, and therefore we can take the lesson from there and then try to understand what is now hindering the further growth.
And I
totally agree with it.
I like to sort of say things in 5 or 7 words. Okay, so my shorthand is the rise and stall of women. They're stalled.
Right.
They've risen.
Absolutely right.
Rise and stall. Okay. Because I'm trying to really get a sense. People say there's a glass ceiling, but glass ceiling is a meaningless term, because what it means is that you are looking up through the glass and you see men up there. It's not intuitive. What is a glass ceiling? And then they say we broke the glass ceiling. Well, why do you want to break a ceiling?
Absolutely right. I agree.
I didn't like that summary phrase at all. There's a glass ceiling. So let it be there. What's it got to do with women? So my phrase is stall. Rise and stall of women in education, business, whatever you want to call it. So what are the reasons for this stall? And as I said, my reasons are that you are stalling in the marketplace because you don't have the same social characteristics and the same constraints or the same opportunities as men. So obviously, there is a big demand to change the working conditions in the marketplace. Okay. And some companies do that in the US at least. They provide full-time daycare. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want the women to come, then you have to provide full-time daycare till 5:30 or 6. Okay. And some places do close.
Right.
But then they can hire the women because they're not worried about. It's not that they have to look after the children, but they worry about, is my child okay? So if you know the child is on the same premise as you are, I don't know, I'm not a mother, but that's what I hear. So, all right, let me stop talking.
Yeah.
I'll never stop. Okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, if like I have also come across various companies who do provide childcare and such facilities for women so that they can enroll themselves in those positions and also maintain their work-life balance. But what I'd also like to point out is that again, through these activities, we are still not doing away with the notion that it is just the women who are supposed to take care of both things. So now what has happened in the marketplace with respect to marriages is that women are also, like you rightly said, today nobody is going to marry a 12th pass.
No.
They all want educated women to come to the house and also look after the house as well as get paid. Hand over the salary and contribute to the working of the household. So yet again, this entire thing still gets stuck on this one societal or social perception that it is women who have to take care of both the things now. So it's not just the house anymore. They also are required to earn and then balance it out. This is your choice. Like as you rightly said, the perception of this glass ceiling. So when we look up and we see men out there, so it is being wrongly taken as women also want to be there. We want to be where we are. We are not feminists. We want people to acknowledge and respect the boundaries that we have and also allow us free thinking. I'm not speaking for all the women here because there are many women who would not want to work but stay at home and look after the children. That is their choice. So ultimately, what we're asking for is, as women, give us the freedom to think. That's it. And make our choices at the end of the day. So if I am a woman and I want to work as well as look after the children, that is my take. If I'm a woman who wants to work and have helpers at home who look after the other activities, that is also fair enough. So ultimately, we don't want this. We want the tag to get removed and get reoriented as interdependency. That is what I was talking about. So it's like both men and women are responsible for both the things and not just the women who's responsible for the children she gives birth to. Of course, there's an attachment of mothers with their children because it's a biological thing. It can't be denied at all. But at the same time, so this is again going into the societal perception and then changing the marketplace. So that's exactly what I wanted to convey. But then, of course, even at the marketplace, giving provisions such as these help put a step forward so that we can at least reach, because we can't jump out and reach that position. That stall cannot end just by a jump. We need to give it go through the baby steps. So those are the baby steps, and I think as and when these steps are taken even at smaller institutional or organizational levels, that is the time when we have spread the message, and now the water will boil, and then of course the change will occur. Probably that's how I think about it.
Okay, well, I don't have anything else to add, but let's hear from you. If you have anything else to add, let's have it.
I think I've done much of the talking. Okay, all right. But yes, yeah.
Okay, all right, good. Let's end it here today then, because it's not my show. I want you to have a time to say what you want to say.
Yeah.
And think about what I said, because I also will think, but it's an issue that I don't have any further answers to. Okay.
No.
All right, good. So let's end it here. And
Yeah.
I'll be
Thank you.
back with another young person or an expert soon. Bye till then. Bye, everybody.